Hey everybody, back on the trail, going from Beaver Bay down to Castle Danger, about a 30-mile hike over 3 days. The shuttle service just dropped me off, and it's time to get on the trail. 2.5 miles in from Beaver Bay, came across this nice vista. It's probably the mid 40s, high 40s, beautiful weather. My Minnesota blood. I got to get rid of some clothes here. Have some shorts, short sleeve. Hiking, I'm definitely sweating here. But so today is the 9-week anniversary of when I was last up here and fell and broke my wrist. 8 weeks ago I had surgery. A couple days ago I went to the doctor's office. He gave me the all clear to not wear the splint anymore. I asked him if he had any advice for my 30-mile backpacking trip this weekend. His advice was, get this, it's really deep. Don't fall. Thank you, Dr. Obvious. All right, I grabbed Subway this morning, but I wasn't able to eat it. Got it in my backpack, shed some clothes, have a little snack, relax, and then move on. Got about 10 more miles today. Okay, we're about 5 miles in, about halfway between Beaver Bay and Split Rock Wayside. And I came upon this beautiful view. Not sure if the camera picks it up, but that beauty you see behind me is the infamous Lake Superior. Beautiful view. I can see a ship out on the lake. But it's a really nice day out here. It's probably about 50. I have to enjoy today because tomorrow about lunchtime rain's going to roll through. And that probably won't be as enjoyable. But for now, we're enjoying the beautiful view and the beautiful weather. Somebody asked why do you carry hiking poles? Of course, it helps for going up hills and down hills, easier on your knees, gives you some support. But also, I've never been on the Superior hiking trail when there wasn't mud. And they come in handy for making crossings like this. You kind of test the soil of where you're going to step. It helps keep your balance. Very handy. I got to Split Rock State Park, and I had a decision to make. There is a Split Rock loop that goes up the river a couple miles, crosses over on a bridge, and comes back down a couple miles and gets back on the trail. And that bridge is out, got washed away. So I had to decide if I was going to go through the state park and not take the trail and meet back up, or try taking the loop and see if I can maybe cross the river by foot. Some people say the water's too high. Some people say it's fine. I guess we'll find out. So, but if I can't cross, that means I have to backtrack and probably put another 3 or 4 extra miles on my hike today. So, but it was only 1:30, so it's like, I got time. So in the distance, you can see Split Rock Lighthouse. And Lake Superior back here. Alright, I guess I didn't come to the junction to make the critical decision of whether to take the Split Rock loop and risk it with the bridge. As you can see, I came to the sign here saying that I have hiked 10.8 miles from Beaver Bay. It's 1.8 miles to the river crossing. Or you can take, they suggest going around on some spur trails here. So the problem is if I go that way, it's 1.8 miles, but I got to go down a big hill. And if I can't get across that river and I got to climb back up that hill, I'm not going to be a happy camper. So I'm taking the conservative route, as I'm sure my wife would be proud that I won't end up in a hospital this trip, and am going to take the spur trails around. I think I'm going to climb. I'm not going to miss the river per se, because I'm going to hike back up the other side of the river to some campsites. So maybe I'll go up and look at the river and see if I should have went that way or not. We'll see. Alright, I got to Split Rock River. This is not the bridge that washed out, but that bridge is still washed out. I just ran into a couple day hikers who come here every year, and they said this is the highest that they've seen the river ever in the spring. So I'm kind of glad I came around. You can see this looks like where there used to be an old bridge crossing the river. And over here I see a sign saying Split Rock River Bridge, quarter mile. So I definitely wasn't going to be able to cross the river here. We'll go up and see what it looks like by the bridge. Well, I'm glad I didn't try to cross the river. As you can see, it's flowing pretty good. And I have a feeling over here it's quite deep. So I'm just wondering what happened to the bridge. The footings are there. So I don't think the water would have went that high to wash it out. Maybe if you know, you can comment down below. Well, I came back to the Southwest Split Rock campsite. I got my whole hammock and crane fly and everything set up. See, the water is right down here with the water flowing, so you have the sound of water. It's quite a large campsite. I have a feeling I'm going to be by myself tonight. Since that bridge is closed, I don't think many people hike up this way and camp. So my gear setup this weekend is the Warbonnet Superfly Poly Rainfly. You can see I have it rigged up with the pole and the pullouts. I siliconed the heck out of those pullouts this week, as I read that it's going to rain this weekend, and if you don't silicone those up well, they leak. You can see my DIY snake skins, and you can see I have the Dutch door clips here. Open that up. Inside I have my Warbonnet XLC hammock with the pullouts over there. Underneath it, the Warbonnet Wookie 20-degree underquilt, full length. Inside, the hammock gear Burrow 20-degree, full length. Top quilt. I guess they're all full length. So it's kind of cold out here. So after I finish eating my lasagna with meat sauce and some other goodies, I'm gonna go lay in the hammock with all that quilted goodness and have a couple movies I downloaded on my phone and chill out. It was a long day. Probably a little over 15 miles. So wake up early tomorrow, get a good run on it before it starts raining around lunchtime. So see you tomorrow. Good morning. I think it's about 5:30 in the morning. Beautiful sunrise over here this morning. Went to bed last night, probably about 8. Watched Netflix for a couple hours, fell asleep about 10. Woke up about 5-ish. Had to pee, so I figured might as well get up, get motivated. It's supposed to be cold and windy and rainy today. The rain starting around lunchtime, so I thought I'd get an early start get as much mileage as I can before it starts raining. So, gonna get packed up. Well, I'm finally packed up, ready to go. It took me a little bit longer to get all packed up this morning for a couple different reasons. First reason was, as most of you know who've watched my videos, I typically eat the Pop-Tart in the morning. Thought I'd try something new this time and bought the breakfast scramble from Mountain House and some tortillas, and had a couple packets from Taco Bell put on there, and it wasn't bad, but I don't think I'm going to do it again, just because the amount of effort and time for doing it. I think I'd rather just stick with a lighter breakfast, a Pop-Tart, and get going earlier in the future. The other reason it took me a little bit longer was I was packing up and I couldn't find my stuff sack for my rain fly. After packing everything else up, I couldn't find it, so I had to pull everything back out, unpack the canopy for the rain fly, unpack the hammock, unpack the top quilt, and finally unpack the underquilt, and lo and behold, the stuff sack for the rain fly was in the bottom of the stuff sack for the underquilt. So took a little bit longer. But I also did one thing that I did like. A little hot chocolate on a cold morning. Sure was delicious. Plus it warms up the core. Still pretty chilly out, probably about 40. But I'm gonna get moving here and warm up. So unfortunately, about a year or so ago, they had to close part of the Superior Hiking Trail that was on private property because the property owner didn't want the trail to go through there for several reasons. So now they have a temporary reroute that goes down on Highway 61. So instead of the 5.6 miles to the Gooseberry parking lot, it's roughly about 6 miles. So I get to head on the trail here for about another 3 miles before I have to walk on the road for a few miles. So it is what it is. Just leaving Gooseberry State Park. Still headed south. Came up on this hill. Very beautiful up here. So this isn't so beautiful. What you see in front of you, folks, is the awesome Lake Superior. All right, I need to vent a little. Yesterday I spoke with a thru hiker that was hiking from Jay Cook up through the northern terminus, and she had told me that where it came to the Gooseberry detour on the road, she walked all the way through up to Split Rock on Highway 61. And I would think if you're coming out here to hike the trail, you would actually hike on the trail. I don't know how a through hiker thinks, but I'm sure she saved some time, but she missed out on this 3 miles of beautiful trail here, and she didn't do any part of the split rock loop. I asked her how high the water was on the river. She said, I don't know, I didn't even see it. Also ran into some section hikers yesterday that didn't do the split rock loop. I don't know. You know, I could be 4 or 5 miles ahead of where I am right now, but I would have missed a lot of good parts of the trail here. So, all right, venting done. Alright, I made it to Blueberry Hill Road. This is where the detour from the trail starts. Go for a while on this gravel road, meet up with Highway 61 and head down to Gooseberry. Alright, I crossed over Highway 61 and I'm on the Gitchagumi Trail. It runs between Highway 61 and Lake Superior. As you can see, it is a paved trail. Kind of boring, but you can see the lake right over there. I gotta go about another 2 miles, I think, and this trail intersects with Gooseberry Falls State Park. Well, I made it to Gooseberry Falls State Park. I never quite got before why roadwalk sucks so much from videos. I'm thinking it's flat, nice footpath, but it is boring. I'm ready to get back on the trail. Well, I checked in with my wife while I was at Gooseberry State Park. And she said that it's raining very hard down in the Twin Cities, about 200 miles south of here. That was about an hour or so ago. And I looked at my phone while I was there, and it was 80 to 100% rain starting at 2 o'clock today, running all the way through about 2 o'clock tomorrow. So I've made the decision to try to hike out and finish today. I had about 9 miles to go from the state park. I've got about 6 miles to go yet still, so I got about 3 hours of hiking. The rain's supposed to hit probably in about 2 hours. So I better get moving. Probably won't be a whole lot of videotaping between now and then, but we'll see how it goes. Thought I heard a tree fall. Didn't see it, but it's pretty surprising. There's a lot of rotten trees here and a lot of wind. So no rain yet, so not quite sure how far I have to go, but I think I'm within a couple miles, so we'll see. So this is what probably the last 5 miles have looked like. Yay me. Note to future self, Do not try to hike 18 miles in a day. Those last 4 miles were torture. But I made it. Woo, buddy.
I like watching the birds.